Okay, so here we have the new Shimano 9150 rear derailleur. Quite a nice sleek black finish and this 2-point shadow mounting. But what's interesting is if you look at this 9070 straight on like that, as if you're looking down the bike, you can see that pretty much everything is outboard. And if you compare it to this one, looking straight down, you've got all the motor and all the gubbins and everything is all pretty much inboard. It's all hanging inside, and that's quite a big difference. I mean, they've tucked away the whole motor and everything right on the inside of the bike, and that's quite a nice little design feature. And we'll see how it looks when we actually mount it on the bike. Right, so we have a new Shimano 9150 Dura Di2 rear derailleur installed, and there's some good news and there's some bad news, and we're going to split this video into two sections. We'll start with the good news because we like to be positive, and basically one of the major attractions of this derailleur is that it's a twin mounting design. It's the shadow technology, and it basically puts the bulk of the derailleur much more inboard on the bike, and there's very much less sticking out than there was before. So if you saw my previous video, you'll see that on the 9070 derailleur it stuck out by 41mm. This one is 22, so they've halved the amount of gubbins that's sticking out, and that can only be a plus in terms of you have less risk of accident damage if you lay the bike down on this side. And above all, there's less sticking out into the airflow, and when we're looking for the odd wart here and there in the frame and the handlebar, wherever, there's definitely an error gain to be had there by tucking it in neatly and keeping it out of the airflow. So that's all good, and it is also 21 grams lighter than the old one. This is 196 grams, which is nice. But that's where the good news stops, unfortunately, because although this derailleur does work with this 9070 system, I plugged it in, and we have shifting, although it does seem slightly slower to me, and that's why I tried to access the system using my eTubes app, and on doing so it said that it didn't recognise the system, there was an error, and I was unable to access anything. So clearly this derailleur has thrown out the whole system. It's crashed the app because it was working fine before. So although I can still get the Bluetooth connection, no longer can I do anything with the bike. I can't check the shift speed, I can't reassign the buttons. That's all blocked off to me now. And to be honest, I'm just quite relieved that it didn't actually lock up the whole shifting system and leave me without a bike to ride, because that's what happened to me when I first installed the new D-Fly sender and tried to update firmware using the iPhone. It was a nightmare. There were crashes left, right and centre. The system locked up completely, wouldn't take a charge, wouldn't shift, and I think I was very lucky actually to be able to revive the system by trying several times, powering up, powering down. So these are premium products. This derailleur is £600, and there's quite a few reviews that have come out about 9150, and they're all glowing. Why? Because the people that have done the review have been invited to a Shimano camp, all expenses paid. So they're not going to slag it off. And although I love Shimano and I think this is a great system, it has a lot of plus sides to it, I just can't believe that they're putting stuff out on the market which hasn't been tested properly. And it's why is the consumer being the guinea pig to have to report all these errors? And when you do get an error, their customer service is extremely slow and not particularly helpful. Most of the time they'll just say, oh, go to your local dealer. But your local dealer often isn't that clued up on Di2, especially not the stuff which has just come out when you're talking about iPhone apps and all the rest of it. So it's really not very helpful, and you would hope that their customer service would be a little bit better when you're looking at stuff that's expensive. The whole group set is selling for in excess of £3,000. Now that's just the shifters, chain set, and the brakes, if you take out the chain set and the brakes, you're still looking at €2,500, that kind of price. Now you can have SRAM ETAP for €1,500, so this is €1,000 more than the SRAM ETAP for the shifting set, and it's got to perform right. You know, for that kind of price, it has to be on the money, and at the moment, it's not. So I would urge Shimano to rectify these mistakes, because there's going to be lots more people doing what I'm doing. They're going to have a front derailleur that needs replacing, so they're going to put a 9150 on a 9070 system, and it's supposed to work. Shimano says it's compatible, and there's going to be issues. So that's the bad news, basically, and I hope it gets sorted out. I'm sure it will eventually, but it shouldn't really be there. And yeah, let's hope for the best on that one. Okay, one more thing that's interesting is that when you're on the small ring, Shimano will no longer let you go into 10th or 11th gear. There you go, I'm pressing for all I'm worth, and it will not go in to prevent cross training. But I don't really like being told what gear I can and can't go into, even if I don't use those very often. And if you are in the big ring and you're in your high gear like that, and you decide to drop the front ring, well, it doesn't drop the front ring, it just moves you up 2 at the back, and then you can drop the front ring. So Shimano has waged war against cross training.